What is macro data refinement actually working on, and what does it have to do with Miss Casey slash Gemma in Severance? Let's talk about it. Severance Season 2 spoilers ahead. All right, so Severance is finally back after 3 years, and the theories are already running wild. One of the biggest questions since the show started has been what exactly are our favorite innies working on in MDR? And what's the real story with Miss Casey? The Season 2 premiere might have just given us a huge clue about both. If you miss it, here's what happened. At the end of episode 1, we see Mark working on a file called Cold Harbor. But just before the credits roll, the screen flashes, and suddenly we're looking at what appears to be Miss Casey's file with her vitals on the display. So, what does this mean? Let's break it down. What do we know about Miss Casey? First, her INI is only activated for wellness sessions and for that brief 8-hour period when she watched over Helly R and the rest of the team. Then, at the end of season 1, she was sent back down to the testing floor. On the flip side, her Audi, Gemma, supposedly died in a car accident. Now, I believe that there's two possibilities for Miss Casey's existence here. One is that Gemma actually died and Miss Casey is some kind of clone, but let's focus on the second scenario, which seems a lot more interesting to me and a lot darker. What if Gemma actually didn't die in the car accident? What if Lumen faked her death? They save her from the brink of death, declare her legally dead, and now she's being experimented on in secret, constantly put into testing scenarios only to be deactivated and put on ice when not needed. Think about it. Lumen would have total control over her because to the outside world, she no longer exists. But now here's the big question and the big part of this theory. How does this connect to Mark and the rest of MDR? What if the files Mark and his team are working on are actually related to the severance chips and the people being experimented on, like Miss Casey? We know MDR organizes numbers based on how they feel. What if those numbers represent emotional or neurological data from severed individuals? The ultimate goal for Lumen could be to eliminate emotions entirely from severed individuals. They might want to create perfect emotionless workers, essentially robots, who follow every command without question. But so far, they haven't fully been able to crack it because humanity keeps on breaking through. So let's get back to Miss Casey. We know she was sent back to the testing floor after Cobell overheard her confiding in Mark that she loved the 8 hours she spent with the team. That emotional response, her feeling of connection with the team, was considered a failure in Lumen's eyes. Cobell immediately orders Milchick to send her back, and as Miss Casey is being taken to the elevator, she starts to cry. That is not what Lumen would want with their severed individuals. Now, what about the file name, Cold Harbor? It feels a little too on the nose, doesn't it? It could literally mean Miss Casey is cryogenically preserved on ice on the testing floor, only activated when Lumen wants to test something. And Mark, he's unknowingly working on the love of his life's file, refining data that might be stripping away the last pieces of her humanity. Now, we know Lumen hasn't actually achieved their goal if this theory is true. There are multiple iterations of Miss Casey. If Lumen is running multiple versions of her, it means they're failing to achieve this goal. Humanity keeps pushing back against the severed chips, refusing to be fully erased. Lumen's experiments with Severance are all about control. They want the perfect technology, not just to create emotionless employees, but potentially to control anyone, anywhere. If they can suppress emotions and free will, they could apply this tech far beyond the severed floor. So what do you guys think? Is Miss Casey, Mark's wife, being kept alive and experimented on with Mark unknowingly helping Lumen erase her emotions? Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and please hit that subscribe button if you're interested in more Severance theories.